I asked you right now, do you know where you spent your time the last 2 weeks? Forget the last 2 weeks. How about the last week? What'd you do on Monday last week? You can't answer that? Then we got a problem. Okay? Because you don't know where you're putting your time. That's a fact, Jack.
Until right now, this very moment, contractors have always been on their own, not as tradespeople, but being alone and knowing how to take their business to the next level. They call us working class, they call us blue collar. They say that we don't have the smarts to become the business owner that we're meant to be. That is such bullshit. You have the ability. You're more than any of that. The question really is, where do you get the insights that you need specific to contracting to systemize your business so you can get your profits to pay for your freedom? I'm Andrew Houston. I'm going to show you how to make more profits, how to get more control, how to get more freedom in the simplest, quickest way possible without any of that bullshit. Welcome to the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. Listen up, level up, and if you learn something, like the video, subscribe to the channel, change your business, change your life.
All right, rock stars, welcome to another No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. I'm here with our rock star coach, Allie. Welcome, Allie.
Hello. It's going well. How are you?
Doing great. So, sometimes I go down this path right at the beginning, and especially on this one, okay?
All right.
The topic of time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let me just be clear. Any listener, if you are a contractor, owner of a contracting business, even if you're not, but that's who we focus in on helping. But look, if this is going to help you, great. Which leads me to the next thing. I don't want you on this podcast listening in any more than a few more seconds longer just to hear my little rant, unless it's going to benefit you. So how do you know this is going to benefit you? If you want to get better control, and maybe you've heard this 1,000 times, but really, if you want to get not just control of time, but be able to mentally get yourself in the right position, that when we share these tactics and strategies that frickin' work, that you're finally going to be able to take the action needed. Because what's really been holding you back is maybe the tactics, but heavily on the mindset. So if that doesn't interest you at all, turn off this podcast, because don't waste your time. If this does resonate with you, I don't care if you're a CEO of a contracting business that's 100 employees. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're Bob in the truck. I really don't care. Time is something we can all improve. So if you want to improve it, you come to the right place. So Allie.
Yes.
I mean, you work with a lot of our champion CEOs, and be straight up, no bullshit, hence No Bullshit.
The No Bullshit Podcast. Yep.
How many contractors, when they come to you, are struggling with time?
Most of them, 95%.
Mm-hmm.
At least, probably. I'd say the majority are struggling with time.
Mm-hmm. What do you say is some of the, and look, by the way, anybody listening in, we're not giving you advice with a magic wand here. And we're not saying that have got this thing perfected. Okay. We've helped over 6,000 contractors. Yeah. Great. Awesome. And I shouldn't say that so lightly, but it is awesome. At the same token, we're always learning as well. So this is a conversation we're having on this podcast. This isn't like some dictatorship podcast, okay? So what are some of the reasons that come to mind? And I'll share mine as well, but what are some of the reasons that come to mind that they struggle with time?
Reasons they struggle with time.
Yeah.
I would say the first one is the story they have about time.
Mm-hmm.
I would say this belief that they have to do it all themselves for some reason. That asking for help is not what they should be doing. It's a weakness or a fault. If they need help, that's a good one. Just being in chaos, so not being able to pull themselves out to see what's possible, to create from the stands instead of in the arena. When we're in the arena and there's so much happening, and it's hard to pause our mind for a second and be like, okay, I'm going to get in the stands and take a look at the view and say, okay, I see it, right? So just relating to that, slowing down as a good thing, to help them speed up later.
Love it.
But there's that story that I can't stop. I can't. I have so much to do, right?
Well, let me give sort of my perspective. So I 100% agree. So everything you said is 100%. Notice, I'm going to add my little perspective on it, but I want you to just pick up. Allie didn't say, oh, this is it. In other words, she didn't say, this is the reason. And why am I amplifying that? Because there's not one reason, guys. Okay, we're all human. All right. And this leads me to my little add-on to what Ali has said here. I don't give a shit if you got control of time right now. And I don't give a shit if you don't have control of time. I'll tell you what I do know. I know that at different phases in our life, we go through better phases than other phases. I know that, let's just talk about, we have something called the Contractors Ladder of Success, which is different levels that you need to identify as a contractor to know where you're at, to know where you're going, to know what you got to work on. But regardless, at different phases in your personal life, different phases in your business life, that could be because of age, that could be cycles in the world. I don't know, something called COVID. We're always going to be challenged with time. Okay? And don't expect to always be in control of time. You're not supposed to be. And that's my perspective, because when you go from being in control of time, or like better control to worse control, it really is something telling you, you could call the universe or whatever, saying that, hey man, you got to work on something, or you've got to evolve. Okay, so time will change from being a parent or not being a parent, being a parent or being married, or like, you hire one guy, you hire a second guy, a third guy, like things will change. Okay. So I'm saying this because, guys, you're not alone. We're all going to be faced with this. Fucking, you go into retirement, you're going to be challenged with that. What? I got too much time.
Too much time.
Don't have enough time. Okay. So let's talk about this. So we're going to talk about some tactics, everybody. And we're going to talk about tactics, and we're going to talk about some of the mindset that you need to consider as well. Because tactics by themselves are what, Ali? Are they good enough?
No. 80% of the game's mindset.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
80% of the game is mindset. People might be like, bullshit. What makes you say that?
It's about, so like you said, we can't control time, but what can we control? We can control how we think about time or what's happening with our time. Mm-hmm. That's where we have the power to show up differently, right, and create from possibility versus this place of defeat, right? So if we can shift our thought, which is the thing we have 100% control of, then we can change the game for ourselves.
Love it. Love it. Well, let's go through some of these tactics.
Okay.
And then we'll go through them from the perspective of mindset as well. Just before we do that, let's just spend maybe 3 minutes on this area, which is like, what's the language you tend to hear? Like, if you could rewind and hit play on the conversation, what's it sound like when these CEO contractors come to you?
Oh, I don't have enough time. There isn't enough time. I can't stop. If I don't do this, if that doesn't get done, it's all the negative thought process, right? This shifts back to mindset, because our thoughts create our actions create our reality. So if we think we don't have enough time, we're not going to have enough time, right? If we think we can't do that, we're not going to ever do it.
Interesting. It's interesting because I love doing these podcasts, because it somehow triggers something in the conversation beyond just us, right, on the phone with each other. It's like, I don't know what happens, but it's good shit. At least, I don't know, selfishly. It's interesting. We've helped over 6,000 contractors. Okay, guys. I've helped coach probably in the thousands. Okay. Over, 20 years of doing this. Mm-hmm. I've never had an owner come to me, now that you say this, now that I'm listening to you, and go,
yeah,
oh man, I got the perfect amount of time and I'm working on exactly what I should be working on, and my life's going exactly where I want it to go. I've never had anybody come to me and say that, ever.
Right.
Ever. Have you?
No.
Interesting.
And it's, just for people listening too, I just want to preface, like, if you're having these little moments of realization, meet yourself with curiosity, total curiosity, not judgment, because our automatic human place to go is to the negative. Like, our brain is wired to survive. It's natural. Sorry. You will continually go there first. It's not a problem. It's what you do with that thought.
Right. Right.
That's the thing.
I love it. Yeah. So you raised a really good point. Like, we're not here to judge you guys. Okay. Mm-hmm. By the way, everybody, right now, this week, get ready for it. I've been struggling. Okay. Straight up, I've been struggling. Curveballs, business, personal, I go back in time. Man, I go back to last summer. I'm like, I'm not shitting everybody. I'm not shitting you. This is like taking the mask off. I started getting depressed. I'll tell you why. I had so much time on my hands. And I was alone. My beautiful wife, was still working, not retired. All my buddies are working. I'm like, okay, well, this is great. Yeah, it was great after about probably around the second or third week. I was like, oh shit, man, what am I going to do? Oh yeah, I got this list of things. I'll go to the gym, I'll do this. But then I just like, oh my God, I got so much time on my hands. Okay. So again, time is a struggle. Even if you have too much sometimes, or we don't have enough or whatever, but it's how you take it and leverage the moment and your mindset. So let's talk about some of these tactics, and then we'll be really specific with mindset. So what are some of the top tactics? And there's hundreds of them, but what are some of the top tactics that our champion CEOs have had success with you on?
Time audits. So figuring out, so we have this story that we don't have time in a day. And when we challenge them to spend a couple of weeks just documenting what they're up to, we realize how much time we're wasting and how much time we actually have that we could get intentional about, that we're just running around in chaos, right? Maybe it's doing runs for material, going back and forth, just not planning effectively where we're at when. So the time audit is a real eye-opener for people, because suddenly they're like, oh, I got into my email, an email came in, I got distracted. I went in there and then I was in my email for an hour, just like down the rabbit hole, even though they were in the middle of something else, right? Yeah. So now they've jumped in and out. So just really seeing the inefficiencies in the use of time through the time audit has been a huge one.
Guys, it's, part of this, which feeds a mindset. Like what are typically, let's bring it in the mindset, but with, we'll keep repeating this so that you guys can understand, A, you're not alone. And maybe some of this resonates. And I hear it all the time. People come to get help from us and they're like, oh my God, Andrew, I listen to that podcast with you and Alison. You guys are right inside my head, like fucking like reading my mind. So let's see if we can do some of that. Okay. A little magic show here. So they do the time audit.
Yeah.
Show it to you. And by the way, guys, like really quickly, I'll just do a crash course in time audit. Ali, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't give a shit if it's on a tissue, a piece of paper. It's not about what you're using. It's just doing it. Okay. So what works for you? Could be on your phone, could be like you look at your calendar or whatever, but doing an audit on your time is really reflecting on seeing things that you would not be able to see without doing it. Okay, because when you're doing it, you're doing it. Okay, you look back, now you can see like, holy shit, where was I? Because it's impossible for the human mind to go, okay, last Monday I spent 1 hour on this and then I spent 2 hours. So when you do a time audit, guys, you make it, put a stake in the ground. Hey man, it's Wednesday. Maybe it's only a week that you do it. Ideally 2 weeks, but let's just say a week. And you go, okay, from here on in, I'm going to stop 2-3 times a day and just reflect to go, where did I put my time? Is that right, Ali?
Yep, that's right. That's part of the mindset work we do before we give you the task, right? Is how you relate to it. It's not extra work. It's actually super simple. Keep it stupid simple.
Yep, totally.
And absolutely. Give yourself the gift of insight. It's that idea of like what's in our blind spot when you're driving. You can't see what you can't see till you see it. Suddenly it's there and you're like, oh my gosh.
So true, man.
Right? Like, look how much time I could take back if I just organized this differently.
I love it. They now look at this 2-week time audit. Yeah. What language do you hear? And what do you use then?
Yeah, like, so I can't believe that this is what, I spent so much time in the truck going back and forth, right? Like just the disbelief or the awareness, like, yes. The insight, right? Suddenly there's this insight that they didn't have. I'm so glad I did this.
Right.
I'm so glad I can see this now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that brings up, other aspects where like, so let's just leverage some of this time audit, which is like, what are some of the things that come out of that as far as follow on tactics that come out?
Right. Yeah. So the beautiful thing is now we have data or, insight that we can now pull into like, hey, what do we do with this? We're being really inefficient with our time. So what now, right? What now? Well, now we get to take a look at the tasks that they're actually involved in their weeks, right? What are the things that they have to do on that list? How could we organize that a little bit better where they're doing like tasks at the same time, right? Creating efficiencies in their day. If they're doing client visits, how can they map it out so it's on a route that makes sense so they're not back and forth and all over the place and wasting time in the car, right? So now we get to block the calendar, which is so fun, right? Because even if you don't stick solid to what's in there, you have a map. It's a little bit of a map of like, okay, it's 9 a.m. What am I up to? I'm in my numbers because my mind is primed for like really, in-depth work like that, right? So they just know what they're up to.
It's empowering. Everybody got to tell you. So first things first, the tactic we talked about during the time audit, okay? The principle behind it, what I'm about to tell you, is the same principle. No matter whether it's looking at your financials that we coach on, no matter if it's looking at like hiring somebody or marketing or sales or whatever, cash, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The first step is you have to get a heightened level of awareness that lets you see what it is you need to see so that you can interpretate and deal with what you're seeing. Right. If you don't do this, I'm not shitting you, okay? And I'm going to give you a couple of, I'm going to coach us through this a little bit with a couple of questions you got to ask yourself. If I asked you right now, do you know where you spent your time the last 2 weeks? Fuck, forget the last 2 weeks. How about the last week? What'd you do on Monday last week? You can't answer that? Then we get a problem. Okay? Because you don't know where you're putting your time. That's a fact, Jack. Okay? If you answer, I know exactly where I'm putting my time, then that meant that you are, in essence, have already done a time audit and now are planning out your time. Okay? It's okay to answer no. Or, man, I go, how much time you spent quoting last week? You go, I don't know, maybe it was 5? Was it 10? Shit, I don't know. You need to know this, guys. Okay? Because this brings us to a very powerful question, okay, that Ali and I were just chatting about before we got on here, which is like, if you don't know where you're spending your time, you'll never be able to answer this question. What is your time worth? Why is that an important question, Ali?
This is a big aha for clients when they get attached to this, right? So when we let you stop and step back and take a look and you think like, what's your company worth, right? What's your company worth? It's easy for you to say, well, my company made $1 million last year, right? So if you're the CEO of the company, you are the company. The company's there because of you. So if you have that value in the business, you break it down hourly and suddenly you're like, I'm worth $500 an hour. Would you pay somebody $500 to go pick up materials for 1 hour?
Guys, listen to this. Pause. Honestly, did you take out the trash last week? Did you deliver material? Did you pick up a check? Okay. Did you respond to a whole bunch of Class D clients that fucking were wasting your time? Like, guys, the list goes on. Now, guess what? Somebody has to deal with that. But back to what Ali said. If you don't know what the value of your time is or even a gauge of it, how do you know what to say yes to and no to? You don't. And what ends up happening, Ali? They say yes to what?
Everything.
Everything. Okay? The thing with being a champion CEO is they do not say yes to everything. They've mastered what to say no to.
Yeah.
Now, what do I mean by that?
You're asking me. You have to honor your no, right? They know the tasks that only they can do. Those are the tasks you keep. You as the CEO of your business, what are the tasks that need to be you, right? And what are the things that need to be somebody else? So you've got to take back your time.
Now, here's the thing. So remember, everybody, no bullshit. Contractors are at a range of different levels. Okay, everybody? Remember what I said, that no matter where you're at, what size, what type, I don't care. You're always going to have challenge with time as you grow. Okay. If I look at Bob in the truck, he's just by himself or he's got a helper. Then I got, Jimmy or Sarah, and they're, got a 20-person company. The principle's the same, everybody, but the approach is subtly different. Okay. You can't expect yourself, just be real. Again, no bullshit. You can't expect yourself, if you're Bob in the truck with a helper or just by yourself. The reality is you do have to wear a ton of fucking hats. You do. I wish I could tell you that wasn't the case. You do. When you get up to, say you have 10, 15 employees, not even that, it could be 5, 6 employees. No, you don't have to wear all the hats, but you're definitely going to wear more than one hat. Why? You're still a small business, okay? So wearing multiple hats, it's just part of a business, okay? Especially contracting business, okay? Now, with that being said, if somebody's wearing multiple hats, here's where the principle comes into play. Allie, how do they know what hat to get rid of first, no matter where they're at?
Right. Yeah. So this is where you take a look at things that could be delegated. So even if you're Bob in the truck, you can get the company you're getting materials from to deliver, right? So there are things that still, so it's what's not urgent, not important, can be delegated, doesn't require you. It's still taking a look at what needs to be you and what could be done another way.
So I have a little bit to add to that.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't have some form of a plan of what it is you're trying to accomplish and improve upon, you will never be able to properly answer these questions as far as what do I need to delegate? What do I need to keep? Okay. What do I need to start? So what do I need to stop, keep, and start? Okay. Let's just go with that. Okay. If you don't know where it is that you're trying to go, and what do I mean? Like an example of that, it doesn't have to be, guys, it doesn't have to be perfect. Some people, they can see a year out. Here, this is where I want to be. I want to be off the tools. I want to be doing lives or doing videos or like whatever that end result is that you're looking for. I want to have delegated quoting, delegated this and this and this. Okay. But right now I'm wearing all these hats. You see, that person that has that clarity, even if it's clarity in the next 30 days of some form or fashion of that. And the reason that they want that is because they want to have more free time. I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to coach my daughter or son's basketball or baseball or whatever. Like they have purpose. Okay. They've charted a bit of a course of where they're going. If you don't have that, guys, it's really difficult to get clarity of like, not just which hats, but what's the order of the hats. Now, you can still start, right, Allie? Like,
sure,
clean toilets, get somebody else to do that. Deliver material, yeah. But the problem is you're not gonna feel that momentum, and you're not gonna have that clarity of like, what's the order of getting rid of these hats, and which hats do I need to take on? Does that make sense? Am I making sense, Allie?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, like driving to a destination without a map. It's going to take longer to get there because you're going to have to like guess, oh, I might turn this way and then I'm going to go that way, right? Like you have the map, you're going to get there quicker.
Totally. It's interesting. I've noticed this with people that, we coach them on a plan. They don't see the value of the plan. And then I'll often hear from you guys, the coaches is like, yeah, this guy, he's not buying into the importance of the plan. And then what happens is so many of the, what starts showing up on our end, correct me if I'm wrong, is most calls are firefighting.
Yeah, totally firefighting. Yeah.
Explain to the audience a little bit more, you're a master coach here. Like, what's the reason for that?
They're still in their chaos, right? So there's still, when you have a plan, there's actually a peace of mind you get when you see this. Even if you're working with your coach, you don't have to look at the end goal all the time. You're looking in the little steps, right? But when you can be proactive on a call and show up, and sure, we can clear out obstacles and blocks as part of what we do. It's like, you didn't get that done. Why? Let's take a look, right? Let's clear out whatever got in the way so that this week you can dive in and get it done. But when you don't have the map or the plan or the intentionality, you get on the call and what shows up for you? When we talked about the brain, right? It's the negative stuff, the stuff that's not working. They're spinning in the chaos of what's not going well, unable to step back and go, wait a minute, like I actually had all these wins. This one thing, it's like, have you ever heard of the black dot on the paper? The prof holds it up to the class and says, right, what you see, it's a white paper, it's got a black circle. Everybody describes the circle. It's round, it's black, it's small, this. And then he says, what about the white space? So the negative stuff's the black dot. The rest of the business and life is the white space, but we go to the black dot.
Heard that one before. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And I think what the plan does is it's another layer to that version of the time audit where the time audit's looking back in time. The plan is looking ahead, and it's laid out the map of where you got to put your time to get to where you got to go. And so, if you're always looking back, you're somewhat, reactive because the shit's happened. Mm-hmm. If you're looking forward with the plan, you tend to be optimistic and proactive because you're actually planning. You're not reacting.
Right.
So, these clients come to you. Now they got this plan, right? Mm-hmm. Now they can take that plan and start defaulting some of their calendar. They go, hey, I got to do this by this and what have you. What's the impact to their team?
Huge impact on the team, right? Because things are happening, there's organization, the team's motivated, they see the progress as well, right? So they're impacted by, what do they say? Shit rolls downhill. I don't know.
Yeah, shit rolls downhill, paydays on fire.
Yeah, right? So the leader is affecting everything that's happening in the business, whether you realize it or not, every interaction you have, right? So your team will do better with a plan too, because they know what they're doing. They know what is expected of them, right? They know where things are moving towards. They share in the vision. So now they're driving towards something too, right?
It's interesting. You could take the exact same people, same number, exact same people, okay? And we know this for a fact. Why? Because people come to us and they got, small team, big team, medium team, whatever, okay? And the same fucking team that they have, it's like, 30, 45 days later, and look, there's no magic wand. It's not like everything's fixed, but within 30 to 45 days or even less, what's the language of the owner as far as now his perspective of his team?
Yeah, now he's in that language of possibility with them, right? Like, instead of what's not working or nobody can do it as good as me, I have to do it myself. It's like, oh, Jim is doing so well, right? He really impressed me. I can't believe I didn't let him do that sooner, or, things like that. It's just possibility all the way.
It's crazy. I'm telling you. Okay. Like, you want to build an A team. Okay. You want to get the most out of your team. You want to get the most out of yourself. You got to have a plan. Okay. And it doesn't need to be a perfect plan, guys. I'm fucking, seriously, when we teach our clients, they have different options, as far as here's the options of the different flavors of plans. Pick the lollipop that you like, the flavor, yeah. Right? Because we don't give a shit. Okay. I don't care if it's a 1-page plan. We got clients that use, a big 90-day plan with sticky notes. We got people that like spreadsheets. We got people that like software. We don't give a shit, but you got to have a plan. And yes, your skill set can improve in planning, but if you don't even have a basic, and basic doesn't mean not productive. Basic means a plan that's actually usable, that works for you, started off working for you, because if it doesn't work for you, it's not going to work for your team. It's a game changer, man. It's a game changer. And what happens with communication with the team?
So much more effective. It's all about communication. That's what creates great teams. It's communicating effectively. And like you said about the plan, all the different ways, this is just how different people operate, right? So same with your team, it's just knowing what works for them and what doesn't. What's their individual plan and how do they like it to show up, right? But effective communication that's where great businesses come from.
I love it, man. So, and guys, look, I'm going to tell you, you ready for it? Here you go, Allie.
Boom, ready?
You guys are all fucking master planners. You're like, what? Oh, I know this because I'm a tradie at heart, right? But what are you talking about, Andrew? Oh, I know. Installing an HVAC unit. Guys, you are typically, if you're the owner of a contracting business, you're the Gretzky of your trade. And you're like, I still don't get it, Andrew. I'll tell you. Being a Gretzky of the trade means that you're good at planning the job. You can fucking install things. There can be 1,000 moving parts, 1,000 different steps. You install it. There's an order, guys, right? electrical contractors listening on this, there's putting in the service, then there's roughing the house, then there's the finishing, and they all have so many different steps. And the funny thing is, you guys do this out of your freaking head. So you actually have the ability to plan. Okay. It's just, you need somebody to guide you as far as like how to get it out of your head and how to use a plan, right? That's going to work for you. So Ali, wrapping this baby up a bit.
Yeah.
What would be, something that you'd want to leave the audience with regarding, getting control of their time and really maximizing the value of their time?
Yeah, I would challenge everyone listening to just take a pause and maybe check in with themselves with what they're saying about their time, check their language around what shows up for them around time, and then shift that to this place that's going to have them show up. So what's the story that's not serving you? I don't have enough time. I'm never going to get it done. No one does it as good as me. It has to be me. I need to do it because I do it best, right? What are those limiting stories that are going to keep you stuck and spinning, and shift the story? What's the more powerful place to stand, right? I can delegate this. I have time because I control my time, right? I can decide where my time goes, and I am worth more than this, or I am whatever your worth is, right?
Beautiful, man. I love it. That's why you're such a great coach. Right?
Oh, thanks.
No, seriously. It's not serious. Okay. Here's what I'm going to leave you with. A bit of a twister. So one thing's going to lead to the other. I'll try and be short and sweet. Wrap this up. Planning and doing the things we talked about today. Just the things we did today. And, like I say, go back, pause, whichever strategy, tactic, whatever worked for you, pause it, rewind it, apply it, make it happen. Okay. But everything we talked about today, everybody, is not just about your fucking business. It's being a champion CEO, not just of your business, but of your life. Planning on the personal side is just as critical, if not more critical, to get. So these skills that we're teaching you, these insights we're giving you, are not just for your business, they're for your life. Okay? So here's the little thing I want you to do. Okay? And it's not business, personal. I want you to think about one thing that you've wanted to do, small, simple thing, with your partner, with your kids, your daughter, your son, your whoever, okay? Maybe it's with your dad or your mom or your grandparent, whatever that is. Pick one thing. Maybe it's for yourself, okay, but personal. So just pick one of those areas, maybe an area I haven't talked about, but personal. That's small enough that you can do something with it. So here, we're approaching like a long weekend. I want you to think about that one thing. So like book a time with my wife to go out for dinner this Saturday. I've been meaning to do that. Just do it. Just book it. Do it. One little win. Okay. That means go kick the soccer ball with your kids. Go do that. Like one little thing. Might not cost you a penny, but default that in your calendar. That means put it in, a time that's going to work for you. Like Ali said, if you're a morning person, make it a morning thing. We're going to get good energy in the morning. Great. If not, you want to sleep in, cool. Do it in the afternoon, whatever. Pick what works for you, but pick one thing. Okay. And trust me, Ali, when our clients pick this one personal thing and they do it, what do you hear come the next coaching session?
I don't know why I waited so long to do that. That's the thing.
Right. The thing, it's so odd. And one of the greatest joys, again, you can pick something that's just for yourself. That's totally cool. Mm-hmm. But if you pick something with somebody else, I'm telling you guys, the experience that they have and what you have with them is something you'll have with for life. Okay. Yeah. And you talk about how much is your time worth. It's not just about money.
Right.
Honestly, how much is your time with your kids, with your partner? How much is that worth to you? Is it worth taking 5 minutes out of this podcast and blocking it for this long weekend or whatever, the weekend or whatever, just doing something? Is that making breakfast for your partner? Like, guys, don't overcomplicate. Just pick one thing that's special. Remember this, one of our clients, Steve Dickey, right? Where he took the time to go and put a sticky note up on the mirror for his wife. So if she woke up in the morning, he said, hey, Jocelyn, I love you. Like, you're beautiful. Like, that changed somebody else. And he was just like, this is, guys, that took like minutes. So pick one thing, personal, make it happen, and get better use of your time. increase the value of your time. And I think that's it. So thanks, Ali, for an awesome podcast. Thanks for all your insight and all the people that you're helping here at PFC. And we will see everybody on the flip. Later.
Hey, rock stars. Thank you for watching the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button. And if you're serious about growing and need help, click on the link below. Myself and my team would love to help and give you the necessary tools so you can take your contracting business to the next level. And remember, dominate, delegate, and deliver.